Good afternoon. 28th of May 2020, 17:40. Well, my estimate of between 10 and 11 o'clock this morning for contact from the council was wrong, apparently. Karen, Councillor Bellamy, was quite shocked this morning when she read my email from yesterday. And she's coming across as quite angry. And yet, despite her anger, still no contact has been made. It's alright. I'm quite laid back about having rubbish in my house. Getting on with some little projects around here. I've got the cables tidied in the bedroom. I've got the keyboard out, started using that. Need to find the thing for the keyboard, the music sheet. I'll order another thing for the keyboard, to cover for it, so it doesn't get too dirty. Still sounds absolutely wonderful. I think it is polyphonic, but I think it's 4 or 5 keys. It's not like a full range, but 4 or 5 keys should be more than enough for someone like me. You think of most pop tunes, they only use 2 or 3 notes at the most at any one time. Most of them are just like ding 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 ding. But you know what I mean. I'm thinking of groups in the 70s and 80s mostly. They had really basic piano tracks. That's the one I want. Harry Potter and the Piano Man. No, I don't mean blend them together and see what comes out. I did actually manage, when I first got my keyboard, to play the Harry Potter theme. I sat down on the floor in my living room and worked out the keys. I can't remember what the life of me it was now. But I managed the dun 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 dun. I got that far just by ear. So I just need to practice a bit more. Mental health holding at -4. I might appear better and happier. Beard's getting nice and bushy. But you try living in a flat with piles of rubbish building up because you're afraid to go out. And then see what your mental health goes like. But it's holding at -4. I've got some kit on order. Electronics kits mostly. I'm looking into getting maybe an oscilloscope kit and maybe a little signal generator. Just enough to do 455 megahertz or kilohertz, so I can test the IF on a radio. I think it's 10.1 megahertz for FM, but 455 seems to be the normal one for the UK. Yeah, so looking down the line, I'll probably get into my electronics finally. Now I've got a working soldering iron, it's motivated me. So let's see how good I am when I get my first kit through in a week or 2. By then I should have had the other bits and pieces to go around it. So I've ordered a little case to put the soldering iron and all the electronic bits in, so it's easy to grab. Things like side snips and a soldering mat, you know, those sort of things that can all go in one box. And my voltmeter, because that will come in handy. I need to get, I've got them here somewhere, really odd screws on my charger, because that's one of the things I wanted for repair. My charger has like a double forked screw in it, and I know I've got a set of screw bits around here that'll do that. I've opened it up before and I didn't have a soldering iron to sort it out, but I need to clean the contacts on the charger clamps, the battery clamps, and then test see if I've got a dry joint somewhere, because somewhere along the line it keeps coming up as a bad battery, and I've thrown quite a lot of the older batteries away now, so it shouldn't have bad batteries left. I mean, some of the batteries were like 10 years old, so you know, Lucky they lasted this long, really. So that's on the way. I've started looking up legislation regarding local authorities and what laws their obligations are assigned from. I suppose that'll be my weekend. I haven't heard anything back from civil legal advice yet. That was over a week ago they spoke to me. I've mopped the floors and hoovered today, so the place is clean again. Although out there it does need a bit more of a mop. I think I need to do it twice a week. But at the moment, it's only the fact that I want to keep the boys healthy that I'm mopping the floors. I'm not really motivated to do any of it. But I don't want the boys getting ill. Friday again, so I'm not expecting anything to be done about the council until next week now. Because the council don't like holding meetings on Fridays. No councils do, none of the public sector do. They try to, if they're going to have a Friday meeting, it's normally down the pub or over a coffee. It's a general affair. So they don't want to have a meeting with me on a Friday. I feel sorry for Duncan and Karen. They're both getting stonewalled. I can imagine what Duncan's going through. And Karen is just, I think she's getting stonewalled because she's nothing to do with me, really. So it's like, well, you're not his counsellor, so I'll ignore you because his counsellors are ignoring you. So, Chief Exec, strike. Michelle Maloney, strike. Senior executives, strike. My own counsellors, strike. Oh well, such is life. I've just watched the coronavirus briefing. It's still going on, but basically we still got 300 odd people dying. 379, I think they said today. And they're releasing the lockdown between June the 1st, June the 8th and June the 15th. They're doing a gradual release. June the 1st, schools go back. June the 8th, you get some shops opening. June the 15th, you can start. I think June the 8th is also for the social distancing thing. You can meet a group of up to 6 people now, but people from different families need to keep 2 metres apart. Yes, I wonder how that's being policed, because it isn't being policed around here. I've got neighbours in my block that haven't been social distancing from the get-go. They've had family round, they've had friends round. Nearly everyone in this block has had, apart from me, of course, has had family or friends visiting. And you still can't have people round your flat or round your house unless from Monday it's to go through to the garden. And yet everyone's breaking it round here. And I've asked Waltham Forest Council why are they doing nothing, and they still don't reply to me. This is what I mean. I'm trying to help Waltham Forest Council. I'm trying to be a good, upright, honest citizen, and they just ignore me because people like me make work for the council. People that don't contact the council is the ones the council look after, i.e. the ones that have got nothing to do with the council, don't get themselves involved in the community, because this is guaranteed. None of the people that are breaking the lockdown on this estate are active in the community. Because I know everyone that's active in the community. There's about 6 of us. And 3 of those are minors, under 18. That's probably Caspi hunting a fly. He's been after it for about 40 minutes now. So yeah, it goes hand in hand. Those that follow the law and follow the lockdown and follow the rules aren't the ones that are interacting with the community. And yet, it feels like Waltham Forest Council is helping those that don't help the community. Those that actively get involved in the community and try to help others get ignored because it involves a lot of hard work for the council. And yet it should be the other way around. It should be the ones that don't interact with the community and don't follow the rules are creating the work for the council, not the ones that are actually doing what they're asked, following the tenancy agreement, etc, etc, etc. Yep, that's definitely Caspi having a little run round. So things have got to change, but how, I don't know. Unless I can get some action from solicitors fairly soon, we're in a stalemate. I'm living off COVID-19 in the odd Iceland delivery. Thankfully, Iceland, great company. Email you when there's a slot free, and then you just book the next available slot, and away you go. You get your delivery 2 days later. Fantastic. I need to go online and I might even have a look at my bank and cancel direct debit for Morrison's, because they're still on a prepaid deliveries thing, and I'm never going to shop at Morrison's again, no matter how nice I think their shop is. Never shop there again, because they threw me out on Easter Monday for making a fuss about COVID-19. I've had no apology from Morrison's. They haven't even looked into my case. What else is happening? No, not really. Been a fairly boring day. It's all been nice and quiet. Well, apart from the kids screaming outside. But hey, the council don't care. I've got a few ideas about how they can sort the estates out. They're not going to like it. It's going to involve a lot of work initially, but one by one, you basically come down to doing estate by estate. And my idea is to share housing officers for one estate. So you have a primary and 2 secondaries, for instance, for this estate, and they share the workload and maintain their own workload. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. And I would say for a month, you have 3 housing officers on one estate, and one should be permanently on the estate. Most estates have got places that the council use for storage and that, or community rooms or things like that. So there should be, even if it means putting a porta cabin down or a caravan or something, there should be a housing officer on each estate, and that should be for the whole month. And that way the housing officer is there when things happen. The trouble is, I believe the housing officer needs to vary their hours. 9 to 5 does not work, because everyone knows it's 9 to 5. It needs to be a little bit in the evening, a little bit in the early morning, mainly in the evening, because the antisocial behaviour doesn't take place during the day. A lot of the lockdown infringements don't take place during the day. They are not that stupid. Most of it happens, I would say, between 4 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Now, I'm not expecting housing officers to be on the estate up until 9 o'clock. But not all the time, but occasionally, if they varied their hours, then yes, occasionally they should be on the estate until 9 o'clock. Randomly. That's what I mean. They shouldn't be on 9 till 5. It should be like some days 8 till 4 and some days 10 till 8. Hello, darling. You alright? Bye, Caspi. He's been doing that all afternoon as well. It's the fact that there's such rigid hours enforced by the council, which is making it impossible for estates to improve. We need to have more variability in people's working hours. There shouldn't be like a cut off at 4:30 or 5 and boom, you go over to the emergency hours. There should be longer hours covered by the council. It's not a 9 to 5 responsibility in law. It's every hour or every day. They have to make the place safe. It's not, let's face it. Let's have a look at Grenfell. Grenfell happened in the evening when the council was closed, right? But it's still the council's responsibility to maintain a safe building and a safe environment for its residents. So just because Grenfell happened at what was it, about half midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning? I seem to remember it coming across LBC about then. Because things happen outside normal office hours doesn't mean it's not the council's responsibility. But the big gaps at the weekend, on bank holiday weekends especially, Friday 5 o'clock to Tuesday 8:30 is too long. Especially when they receive an email at 8:30 on Tuesday and they don't have to respond to it until Friday. You're talking over a week. Or nearly over a week, depends what happens on Friday. But nearly a whole week would have gone by before the council even has to respond to an email. And that's just not on. There should be more of a... Antisocial behaviour team should be there 24/7. Because antisocial behaviour happens 24/7. It's not a 9 to 5 job, for example. Same as housing, not a 9 to 5 job. Repairs are on all the time, in some form or other. So why isn't the rest of housing? If you've got tenants threatening you at 10:30 at night, then what do you want to do? Just invoke the police all the time? The police don't often come down. I've reported quite a few things to the police, and unless it's the SNT, the main police don't come down very often. There's no reason given, they just don't turn up. Oh, we've logged it and we've got CAD. I've got so many CAD reference numbers. And yet no action's taken. Are they being reported back to the council? If there's a crime in the area, is it being reported back to the council? Don't know. Or is the council getting a report of all CAD numbers in local? Don't know. This is what happens when scrutiny is taken away from you. I can't ask the council anything because they won't answer it. I can send an FOI in or things like that and probably get section 14, i.e. made vexatious, and they won't answer anything else. And that means they've got responsibility to answer questions within 3 months rather than as they come in. And 3 months is not enough. For people that know what they're talking about, there should be an exemption. You know, people like myself, background in politics and law. If people like me ask questions, there's a reason for it. It's not just asking questions for the sake of it. There's a reason behind it. So FOI is a good idea, but most councils, I fear, are probably abusing the Section 14 status with people. I believe it's Section 14. It's something to do with vexatiousness. Vexatious is basically you're just asking questions for the sake of wasting their time. And the only reason I feel that I'm wasting their time is because I ask questions that they don't answer and I keep chasing them. But there we are. I still haven't had a response back from the Chief Exec or Michelle Maloney or my councillors. And it's getting to the case where I'm going to have a word with my MP and get him to raise a complaint against these people. Because I can't raise it with Waltham Forest Council because they don't treat my complaints seriously and they're not processing my complaints. My email in February was treated as a complaint and totally ignored. They didn't deal with it correctly. The response was not correct, etc, etc, etc. There's a standard way they're supposed to respond to questions. I know because I got London Borough, Barking and Dagenham told off for the way they responded to one of my freedom of information requests. And complaints are the same sort of process. They have to respond in a certain prescribed manner. And their response to me was basically, we're going to talk to Duncan and you talk to Duncan and then he can give you all the answers. No, he can't. He's a great bloke, but no, he can't. He's not high enough up. This is why I went through the Chief Exec. So, what else is happening? I think at the moment, probably nothing else to report. No, nothing that I can think of. I finally got, I've ordered the bits and pieces to put the extension socket in the living room, so I should have that up and running in about a week. I've got enough money saved up, thanks to the lockdown, to actually get the last few bits for the bike, so I might order those next week. I think all that's left is 2 inner tubes, 3 inner tubes, because hey, keep one spare just in case you get a puncture. 3 inner tubes, a set of brakes to replace the ones that are there, a new derailleur, and I think a mudguard for the back. I think, 2 mudguards. Front, 2 mudguards, front and back. And then I'll have a working bike for when I get released from this prison. 21 gears, 24 gears I think. 8 on the back, 3 on the front. Yes, it's got a granny gear. I didn't even realise it was called a granny gear. But yes, 24 gears. It was lovely riding it back until I fell off because I hit the curb. It felt comfortable. Oh, that's the other thing I need to work on that I haven't done yet. The back seat doesn't come off. And I know I've had it off before, so I need to put some WD-40 on it or something and sort that one out. But apart from that, it's going to be a quick one today. So thank you for watching. I'll look forward to talking to you again tomorrow.